Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see it. And today we have a very serious show for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. So, as all of you are fully aware, the U.S. political climate is very polarized. I really can't remember the last time it was this polarized, where people are just dug in to their positions, and it's either they like who's in power, or they love who's in power, or they really hate who's in power. Like, it's just two extreme polar opposites, right? And people don't hide their disdain for the president, and people don't hide their support for the president. Things have changed, right? I haven't been to the States. I've lived in the States for some time now, but I will be living there soon. And it's something that I've observed from afar. Now, I try not to get too much into the political discourse, because what I've discovered is that with some people, you can talk politics, you can disagree, and then you can go home. And I'll see you next week, man. See you at the store, or see you at the mall, or see you at the gym, whatever. And then for some people, they just get very butthurt about it. I've noticed that some people really take it to heart, and I understand. You know, politics is very divisive. It's right up there with religion, right? It's one of those things where it really divides people. So we're just going through content for today, and I had a lot already on my mind that I wanted to discuss. Then I came across a series of videos that was centered on Stephen A. Smith challenging sitting president Donald Trump to a debate. And I actually came across this bit of news here from an Awful Announcing website. And it says, the headline, Stephen A. Smith challenges Donald Trump to debate him about DEI. And I'm like, what's going on here, right? So I then began to watch the videos, and I was unclear about what he was talking about. Then I was able to unearth an article here from CBS News. I tried to read it from New York Times, but they wanted me to pay. So many websites are talking about it. So I just want to quickly read what it has to say here. It says, Pentagon removes and restores webpage of Jackie Robinson's military career. Then continues on. The Defense Department removed and then restored a webpage recognizing the military career of sports legend Jackie Robinson amid a purge of diversity, equity, and inclusion content from across the department's social media and websites. The URL for a story on Robinson and the Defense Department Sports Heroes Who Serve series on Wednesday morning redirected to a URL that included DEI in front of the rest of the address DEI Sports Heroes Who Serve baseball great Jackie Robinson, and said page not found. As of Wednesday afternoon, it was restored. The removal and restoration comes after a Pentagon memo on February 26 directed a digital refresh of all Defense Department web pages to remove all DoD news and feature articles, photos, and videos that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. An archived version via the Wayback Machine of the story on Robinson shows the article highlighted that he was drafted during World War II in 1942 and assigned to a segregated Army cavalry unit at Fort Riley in Kansas, and then joined the 60th Black Panthers Tank Battalion at what was then Fort Hood, Texas. At Fort Hood, now Fort Cavazos, he faced a court-martial for refusing to move to the back of an army bus, but was later acquitted. He served until 1944, and then the article then goes on to say that, right? So I had to understand what they were discussing, because I knew Stephen A. Smith was pretty upset, but I was unclear of the background of it, and the clips didn't really show that. So I said, okay, let's read a little bit about what took place there. So we actually now want to get into the sound of Stephen A. Smith going directly at Donald Trump, and then also challenging him to a public debate on the issue of DEI. But before we even get into what Stephen A. Smith had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60 plus states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I'm very interested in the game between the Wizards and the New York Knicks. Here's what I like to do. I turn on all-in pricing so I know exactly what I'm paying for upfront. I check Game Time Picks to find out the most valuable deals. And finally, I pick the ticket I want. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Smith had to say towards sitting President Donald Trump, and then want to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to that there.
And nobody is calling out the President Donald Trump. I will. And I'm not going to call him names and all of this stuff like stupid folks on the left doing, engaging in incendiary rhetoric. It's unnecessary, it's immature, and it's uncalled for. He's the president of the United States. Treat him with the respect that he deserves, but in the same breath, call him to the carpet for stuff that he's doing. This is the same Donald Trump that looked at folks during the campaign in 2015 and 2024. And he said, what do you got to lose? OK, well, guess what? He won the popular vote. He won the electoral college vote. He won every swing state, okay? And in the process, his numbers improved from 2020 to 2024 with young blacks, young Hispanics, okay, and young voters, with blacks, Hispanics, and young voters overall. You're forgetting about those people now that you're in office, President Trump? They don't matter now? History doesn't matter? The iniquities of this country didn't matter? The insidious behavior and actions from an historical perspective, oh, we want to ignore all of that? It doesn't go down like that. You know, many people on the left, and I'm disgusted with them and what they've done. They lost this election, okay? And they have nobody but themselves to blame because they prioritized things they didn't need to prioritize. But even in the midst of saying all of that, one has to acknowledge that when you look at the actions of this administration and you're talking about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and you're equating that with black people, and you're using words like unqualified. Remember, he blamed DEI when a plane crashed, in the immediate aftermath of the plane crash in D.C., colliding with the helicopter, where lives were lost. The first words that came out of President Trump's mouth was DEI. What evidence do you have, President Trump? He had none. Admitted he had none, but still lent itself to DEI. Pete Hegseth is the head of the Defense Department. He has served our country with honor. I am not trying to knock him or denigrate him in any way. We got to root for our elected politicians or the people that they assign to departments and wish them nothing but the best in America's best interest. But the fact of the matter is, how is he not DEI? He was a soldier. And then he was a host on Fox News on the weekends. And he goes from that to being the head of a Defense Department that oversees more than 3.5 million people. How in the hell do you go from being a weekend host to being the head of over 3.5 million people for the Defense Department of the United States? He happens to be white. And we don't mention DEI when it comes to him. Why not? The biggest beneficiaries of affirmative action and DEI, some would argue, are white women. How come we don't mention that? Why is it always attached to black people? This is the kind of stuff that we're asking ourselves. And on a day like today, it gives us more credence to ask that question because of what happened with Jackie Robinson, who served in our military, drafted, served our country, and for hours upon hours in a day, his stuff was scrubbed, and we're supposed to believe that's accidental. We were born at night, Molly. Some of us anyway, not last night.
I'm sure you'll have.
Not last night.
I'm sure you'll have more on this on. Sure.
President Trump, I'm happy to sit down with you to have that conversation, sir. I'd love for you to try to defend it. Vice President Vance, you too. Pete Hegseth, you too. Stephen A. Smith is calling you out on national television. I'd love for you to sit down with the cameras rolling and try to defend this. It's ridiculous. Go ahead, Molly.
Okay, so you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say there. I have a lot of thoughts on this. A lot of them. First of all, I think this is just my opinion. And I think it's important that I said just my opinion. It's not an attack on anybody, it's just one person's view. Not like it's the view that needs to be adopted by everybody. There's so many games that's being played in politics and the coverage of it. There's so many people online that just basically sit up there and twerk it up all day long and grift for their audiences, say one thing, holler and scream it. Like it's just a bunch of nonsense. And it's quite transparent to some people. Some people, they buy into it and they really, really like get hooked on it, and other people can see through it and say, man, these guys are not serious. Okay. So there's that. So let's address Stephen A. Smith quickly. He went at the Democrats, right? And Stephen A. Smith has made it clear that he wants to run for office. Although I don't know what party he's going to run for. I don't know if he's going to be running as a Republican or a Democrat. The reason I say that is historically you would think that Stephen A. Smith would be the Democratic challenger, or person that wants to represent that party. But then if you listen to him and some of his political commentary, he's very critical of the left. Even in his monologue here, he was even going at the left, right? So he was scolding them. So one would think that, okay, maybe he's on the Republican side, but then he's kind of going at Trump too. So I don't know where Stephen A. Smith lands politically. He says he's an independent. I don't know. So you have that aspect of it, which remains unclear. But he does have political ambitions, and he did said he wants to run for president. So you have that aspect of it there. You also have the aspect of him talking about Democrats not being disrespectful to the president, but then some who are most likely supporters of Donald Trump are going to view what he did as disrespectful to a sitting president. So you have that as well. Just wanted to point that out there. Now, let's address this issue of DEI. We don't talk about it. I'm fully aware of it, and I follow it, but I don't have any comments on it. I will say this, however. I'll share one of my sentiments with you guys. I am surprised, and I mean this. I am really surprised at how much of a big deal this is to people. Really it does. It really surprises me that it really ruffles people's feathers to this degree. First of all, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion refers to minorities, right? So if you are in the majority, I don't know why you would be worried about what people are doing in the minority. You have that aspect of it. So I don't get that. If I'm in a seat of power, I don't know why I would be bothered with people that are in a less advantageous position. I don't know why I would care that much, but a lot of people do. Now, let me give you guys my interpretation of why DEI is even a thing. My interpretation of it is, and people can disagree with me, people can say, no, it's this, but my interpretation of it is simply this. Given the history of the United States, the documented discrimination, racism, whatever, initiatives and provisions like this were put in place to ensure that people from minority backgrounds that were qualified would be able to gain access to certain positions in society. That was my understanding of it. Even if you look at colleges, right? They have, if you go to, is it collegeboard.com? I forgot the website. You go to different colleges, you can look at their student body and see, okay, the 80% or 50% white, 15% black, and da-da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da-da. And I think they have certain quarters where they want to ensure that they include various people that are represented across the board. So it's not just, okay, we just have all white or all black or whatever it is. Now, some people may view that as, oh, that's you're discriminating against whites and all of that. I don't see it as discrimination if the majority are white. If you have a student body where 65% of them are white, you can't say they're discriminating against others. The issue becomes you going out there and getting people from minority groups that are not qualified. But I don't believe that that's what it is. And I don't really think it's ever been that. My second thought is the following. Are we saying that discrimination doesn't exist in society? Is this what we're saying? I don't think anybody would say that. No one would say that. And I think that there's this misconception out there that if you say that discrimination or racism exists, you're somehow wagging your finger at whites, or it's only white people that do it. I think that's a very myopic way of looking at things. It's a human condition. Discrimination, provincialism happens across the world. It's not a white thing. It's a human thing. In India, they have the caste system. In Nigeria, or let me just speak for Nigeria now, it's not racism that exists in Nigeria. They have their own form of it. Do you know what it's called? It's called tribalism. Tribalism. I'm only going to put this guy in position because he's from my tribe. I'm only going to put that person in government because they're from my tribe. And when they get there, they're going to put people from my tribe back in there, whether they're qualified or not. What do you call that? It's a human thing. And every group does it. Every group does it. Every group does it. White, black, it don't matter. White people, black, they're not exempt from the human experience. They all do it. So to act like as if these things don't exist in reality is a joke. It's a joke. People hire people because maybe sometimes they're from their same ethnic group. It happens all the time. Jewish people may hire another Jewish guy. Oh, damn, I'm noticing there's a lot of Jewish people here. Oh, yeah, they do it. Italian people hiring a lot of, I'm noticing there are a lot of Italian people here. Nigerian people hiring a lot of, I'm noticing there's a lot of Nigerian people working in this place. It happens. Of course it happens. So for us to pretend like this is not a real thing, I think it's extremely childish. That you have that aspect of it. And who offends it offends. It's I'm giving you guys my opinion. I'm not attacking anybody. You have that aspect of it. Now, the part about them removing Jackie Robinson's history and trying to strike it from the records. My question is why? Why? What is this thing? Why is this even a thing? How is this even an issue? Like, what are we talking about here? Why is this even an issue? I don't get it. Why does it bother some people so much? What are we talking about? Oh, we don't want to be diversity, but there's a reason these initiatives are put. Why do you think this thing exists? This diversity, equity, inclusion only exists in other countries. Why do you think that is? Why? Have we ever sat down and asked the question why? Now, is it saying that every white person that walks down the road is racist? No, I'm certainly not saying that. But there's also another side to this where if you see any qualified person of color or minority, it's a DI hire. Really? Do some people really believe that? Really? Is that, do people honestly believe that? Okay, let's use me for example here. I do YouTube. There are thousands and thousands of people. There are more people trying to do YouTube than they're trying to go to the NBA. Are we at the position that we are because of DEI? Or is it not because of hard work? Like, what are we talking about here? There are whites that make it in sports media content. Look at Gary Vee. Not Gary Vee. That make it in content. Look at Mr. Beast. He's a white guy. Is he there because he's white? No, he's there because he's good. Look at the other guy, the black guy that used to review tech, and then now he reviews cars. I forgot his name. Is he there because he's black, or is he there because he's good? Like, what are we talking about here? And it's insulting to those that actually work hard. Like, what do we mean here? What is this? It's like a way to discredit people that work hard. Y'all know I said it. I said it on the other channel. Maybe some people that don't follow that channel there, I'm going to say it here. I never depended on any president or any person in power to save my life. I never did. Never will. Regardless of who's in office. I believe my life will get better by me getting better and by the grace of God, not by the grace of the president. That's my belief. I believe the person that has the biggest impact on my affairs in this world are me and God Almighty. Not a president, not a governor or whomever. I just never believed that. I never believed that. Regardless of whoever I voted for the election, I never sat back and said, man, I hope my candidate wins so my life gets better. Really? How's that working out for people? How is it working out when you depend on a political leader to make your life better? Who did that ever work out for? Unless you're corrupt and you can get leaders to do whatever it is that you want them to do to benefit you, which happens all around the world. So I don't get this. What is this thing about, it's DEI? What is this? It's just the amount of grifting and nonsense that's being propagated throughout the internet is just laughable. Where are the honest, where are the people that are saying what they really think, that are unafraid of what the backlash is going to be from the audience? What is people just calling it down the line? Like, I don't understand removing Jackie Robinson from, why? I don't get it. Who is competing for power in America with white people? Who is the one? Who's the group? Don't we all know that the majority of the power, the wealth, all belongs to who is fighting with white people over this? Who is the threat here? What group? Who's the threat? Who runs the biggest banks? Who runs the biggest companies? So what's this threat? External threat. Where's the threat coming from? I don't get it. I just think that it's ridiculous. I think it causes division, and it's just something I don't want to be a part of. I don't view people like that. I work with all kinds of people. The company that helps us with our sponsorships and all of that, the owner's a white guy. He doesn't think like this. I get along with people. I have an open mind. I'm not provincial in this way. Maybe it's just the way I'm raised. I'm not into all of this white guy, this blah. I'm not into that. Some people are. You can have that and you can live that limiting life all you want to. I refuse to stoop to that primitive level. I refuse to do it. I believe that human beings can be better than to be looking at, I don't have a racist bone in my body. Not a single one. And I never will. I don't condone nothing that leads to people disliking various groups. I don't. Whoever feels a type of way, feels a type of way. Unsubscribe, subscribe. It is your bloody business. I'm telling y'all what I think. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments. We catch you on the next show. Peace.